Alright, hey y'all, it's Dr. Foudry. We are on to the last two substances for our lab, which is going to be orange juice and salmon. I have to let you guys know, though, that salmon is, at least where I am, like $9 a pound. I'm not going to grind up salmon for this experiment because it was so expensive. I think I'm going to eat the salmon. I'll let you know that should we have done the salmon test, it would have turned positive for protein and fat. So you can put that in your results. The salmon was so expensive, I think I'm going to eat that, y'all. I hope you guys forgive me. All right. We will, however, do the orange juice test. So let's go ahead. You know the drill. We're going to put in our solvent first. So we're going to be putting in water, because as you remember, is the molecule that supports life. 3 of our 4 biological molecules can dissolve in it. Proteins, carbs, nucleic acids are all soluble in water. Lipids are not. That means lipids are really good for things like cell membranes that separate the outside and the inside of cells. So if you ever think like of oil and water and how oil and water don't mix, well, oil is a lipid, and therefore it doesn't mix with water. And in fact, that's kind of how we define lipids. They're at least in biology, is that lipids are substances that don't dissolve in water. And they're things like waxes and fats and sterols, which I'm sure that you have read in your book. All right, there is our solvent. I'm going to go ahead and put in our chemical tests, and by now you probably are familiar with them. Who do we need for starch? Oh no! If you're thinking potassium iodide, you're correct. So let's go ahead and put some potassium iodide into our tube. And 5 drops is going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And y'all don't know this, but behind the camera, this table is a hot mess of stuff. I should have put down some sort of like chemical diaper. We're going to do the Biuret test next. And think about for a second what it tests for. If you're thinking that the Biuret test tests for protein, you're correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's our protein test. And remember, our last test is the Benedict's test. Can you think for 1 second what molecule the Benedict's test tests for? Okay, if you're thinking sugar, that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, so 20 drops of our Benedict's test. So again, potassium iodide, ouch, test for starch. That really hurt. Biuret test for protein. Benedict's test for sugar. The last substance that we're going to test for molecules is going to be our orange juice. I have gone ahead, gotten our orange juice, diluted it down, and we're going to be using, I think, 10 drops. We'll try 10 drops for our experiments. Let's go ahead and do orange juice in potassium iodide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Let's do orange juice in the Biuret solution that tests for proteins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And then last, let's do our orange juice test in Benedict's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. That tests for sugars. Now, just because the orange juice is orange and because like this test is positive when it's orange, I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now it's actually still quite a nice blue. I'm going to put it here in our hot water bath. I'm going to grab the hot water that I microwaved off camera. Oh! I put on the side. And I'll go ahead and pour it into our hot water bath. My kitchen table is a hot mess, y'all. Don't do this at home. And let's go ahead and look at our tests. So orange juice, when mixed with potassium iodide, remains brown, browny yellow. So what is this? Is this negative or positive for starch? If you're thinking this is negative for starch, you're correct. Orange juice is negative for starch. Let's go ahead and mix this around. This is our Biuret test. And again, we're looking for a lilac color if this Biuret test is positive for protein. And I'll stop now. You can see that that's kind of faintly bluey yellow. So is this positive or negative for protein? If you're saying to yourself that this is negative for protein, that's correct. Orange juice doesn't have a lot of protein in it. And now I'm going to go ahead and leave this test in for orange juice and sugar. Now remember, it needs to be in that hot water bath for a few minutes in order to undergo this chemical reaction. I also might need to put hotter water in there, so if you'll keep on watching that for me, I'll see if I can get some hotter water. While the water is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and swirl this a little bit. It's kind of wanting to turn. You can see it's kind of getting greeny, opaque-y. And the thing is, the cool thing about this experiment is that not only does it change color, but the reaction also does something called precipitation. And if you're familiar with that term from like weather, right, precipitation of water, that's when water vapor becomes water liquid. Aha! So that idea of something becoming solid or reappearing is really what is behind that idea of precipitation. And in this experiment, the sugar not only changes color, changes the solution a different color from blue to orange, but the sugar that's doing that color change, or that's making that color change happen, will precipitate or become solid, come out of solution, and kind of glop at the bottom as this like red oxidized copper color. Now you can see it's already changed color. It's kind of this like, you know, Ghostbusters Slimer green color if you've ever seen that movie. I'll put even hotter water in, and that will help the color change even more. Look how neon green this is, y'all. I mean, this is like full-on Ghostbusters Slimer in the first Ghostbusters color. That's proper Slimer green. Now let's go ahead and think about the scientific interpretation of this. If a Benedict solution has changed color from blue to like yellowy, reddy, greeny, orangey, and it's precipitated, is it a positive or negative result for sugar? And if you're thinking that this is a positive result for sugar, you're absolutely correct. It turns out there's lots of sugar in orange juice. And if you think about those orange juice commercials like Trop 50, they even talk about the amount of sugar that's in orange juice. And in some orange juices, they try to reduce the amount of orange juice by 50% so that it has less effect on people's glycemic or sugar load. All right, those are your results for the orange juice. Like I said, I'm not going to do the salmon because I bought the salmon. It was $9 a pound. I'm going to eat the salmon. Just put that it's positive for protein and for fat. Okay, there's no starch in it. I'm going to wrap up this video, and then I'm going to do a set of Sudan 4 tests for lipids, and then that'll be the last of our videos. Hang tight, y'all. Y'all are doing great.